All right, I'm Michael Hernandez. We are now talking about the mop. So the mop, you would think it is a lot less to it, a little less complex, but there's still more complex than you think. So we'll try to keep it simple. We'll try to keep it quick. So you've got two different kinds of handles. You've got a fixed handle, and then you've got a swivel handle. Okay, and they're both good to have. Generally, we keep a swivel sorbo in our bags. The reason that we like to use this one is because it does swivel. If you want it to floppy around, you can loosen this screw right here, or if you want it to stay in a more fixed position to where, let's say you want to turn it, but you want it to stay tight while you scrub off to a corner or off to an edge, right? You can do that. So that right there it's a little bit versatile. That right there is pretty simple. So the mop itself, so we're going to give you a pointer too here. So putting the mop on and off. So these are tight, but that's good because you don't like this to flop around or to be loose when you're trying to clean the window. Because when it's tight, if it's loose, you can be moving this around and the mop itself doesn't move. When this is tight, and you want to find a good combination. So the sorbo are a little bit wider than the other mops, the actual handle of it. And so what that does, sorbo's good for that, and so is it sorbo maker? Makers are also pretty tight. They're a little pricey, and to be quite honest, I don't like the covers of the makers quite as much. So this is what we use to get these off, and so they are tight. So what we do to get them off is you're going to take this. Right, we use the hook. This is what we take to keep the screens off, but we'll take this and we'll stick them inside the opening, okay, which you can see there. We stick this above that guy and onto the top, okay, and then that will usually slide it off. So what you're going to do underneath there is you're going to put it in here. You're going to lift it up and you're going to slide it over, and then you're going to push up, and that will pop it off. Same thing with if you want to get it in. Come back up. If you want to get it in, because it's tight, it doesn't go on easy. This one was on here, so it came on, but the first time you're going to have a little bit of fight on your hands. So what I did was, see, this one's got a flat side and a round side. So what I do is I go hook it in, turn it flat, pull up, and slide it, because it's easier to slide on the wider side. Okay, so I'll put it in there first, turn it flat, and then pull it over and slide it on. That's a pro tip. After it's come on and off a few times, it'll go on off. But that first time, you'll have to fight it. So it's not going to even be easy with this one. This one that's already been put on. Okay, so this is what the mop looks like underneath. Pretty simple. You've got 18s, and 18 is generally what we use. Sometimes some of the ladies will use a little bit smaller one, either a 16 or a 14. And this is the thing too, 18s are good, but sometimes having a smaller one will get you onto windows that are that can fit. So sometimes if you have a smaller one or a bigger one, you won't be able to get on certain windows. So 18 usually is the best, but we do have these. If there's a house where there's a lot of cut up windows or smaller windows, we'll grab one of these. And they actually have one smaller too. So the mops. So this is the thing. First thing. There's different properties to the mop. One of the properties is that you want is scrubbability. Okay, some mops scrub more than others. There's a few mops that we just don't like to use, and they'll have like an actual scrub pad on them. It's an Unger, and it's got a blue scrub pad. We don't like that one because the tint doesn't like it, and it'll scratch the tint. Which I feel like if they would get like some softer scrub pad on there, it might be a lot more usable, but this is what we use. So this first one right here, it actually has a lot of scrub, and it's kind of tough because you can't always tell how well it's going to scrub when you look at it, because I feel this and it feels soft, okay? And the fibers are kind of loose. If you look very close, I mean, they're not. It doesn't look like it's going to scrub. It looks like a big softie. Okay, but this actually does scrub pretty well. This one right here is our favorite for the interior. This one, if you feel it, you can see this one's been used a little bit, but you can see the fibers are a little bit further apart, and these gray ones, or no, the white ones are a little rougher. So this is actually a strip. They call it a strip mop, and it's got like rougher, smoother, and this is actually this is probably the best mop, because it does have a nice scrub to it, but it won't scratch the glass. Okay, and then this right here, so first is scrubbability. It's kind of in the dark. It's kind of like, well, it's not hit and miss. We know which ones work. The strip washer is our favorite for scrubbing. And then this one right here is our favorite for the interior because it's soft and it's not going to scratch the glass. This is probably the best all around. This one right here is called the Golden Glove, and not to be not to be confused with, there's a Yellow Jacket. So the Golden Glove is much more dense, okay? And when we're talking about the fibers, there's a certain care that you're going to have. If your mop gets too hot, because these are made out of microfiber, which is technically plastic. A lot of them are made with some rayon or whatever, and they will melt. And they'll get dirty. If you put them in the dryer will damage them. This one right here is dirty, but you can also see that the fibers are damaged. If you look really close, can you see that? That was probably put through the dryer, and it's dirty. So, trying to stay in order as far as how we want to explain this. Okay, so with the fibers, right, this one right here is very dense, and we love this. This is a legendary mop, the Golden Glove, because it's very dense, it scrubs very well, it holds onto water very well, and it transfers very well. So the properties that you want are scrubbability, how much water it holds, how much water it retains. So if when you dip it in the water and you pull it out, how much water will it hold on to? Okay, retain is when you dip it in the water and you pull it out, and it's going to be dripping. So it's going to drip until it gets a certain amount of dry. So if you can get a scrubber which retains water very well on the inside, which we actually have videos of this guy, which is legendary. Was it this one or is it this one?
It's both.
It's both. Okay, so these right here, you can take these. It is this one. This one right here is legendary.
That one more, but they both do good.
This is the better one because it's just a case by case basis. We don't know if they engineer them, but we know which ones we use. We use these two inside because we can dip these into the water. They'll get really wet, and we don't even have to wring them out. We can just dip on big jobs, or we'll bring the bucket into the building on maybe a commercial building. We put down towels, but we'll dip it in there, and then we'll dip it in there, and then we'll raise it up. We'll scrub the top, right? And we don't worry about a whole bunch of water dripping down. So this one right here is really good for water retention and water. It holds a lot of water and it retains the water. So the other thing too is the reason that these are built this way is because you don't want dirt to scratch your glass. Okay, so when you use a piece of paper towel, your dirt is essentially like sand. Okay, so if the sand, A, you're going to want to use soap, but B, if you take a piece of paper and you've got a piece of, like, if you're wiping with a towel or you're wiping with a paper towel, even if you're using soap, right, the dirt has nowhere to go. So you're just essentially scraping dirt across the surface of your glass. The dirt has nowhere to go. So with these, what's happening is the dirt can go inside of here, and it'll hold the dirt. So that's essentially why you only use a mop to clean a window, especially on the outside. When you're removing dirt, we do it in two steps. We do one step, we remove the dirt, and then we do one step where we actually scrub the glass. Okay, so this one right here is good. This one right here is actually great. You'd think these ones were good for holding the dirt. These ones are amazing for holding the dirt, but they don't last quite as long if you're using a lot of dirt. These ones right here actually do last a little bit longer, but to be honest, like we're out here, you know, we're trying to be the best. I would recommend if you can get your hands on these. These are harder and harder to find. Hopefully they don't disappear, the Golden Glove, but this is our favorite. They're getting harder to find, which is what led us to these, which we love. So these are the Unger. This is an Unger Ninja, and this is an Unger strip washer. So the last thing we're going to want to mention is you want to keep these clean. Okay, you can wash them, but don't dry them. Because it will melt the fibers, and that's probably what happened to this guy right here. It got thrown in the dryer at some point. And then, but generally what we'll do is maybe once a day, what you should do is if you find a house that has a lot of water pressure, all different houses have different water pressure, but if you find a house that's got a lot of water pressure, take the opportunity, or if you're pressure washing, take the opportunity to just blow the dirt, just shh. You'll have to work it a little bit, but you'll see the whole thing just brighten up. This one right here, like you can see how it's a little dirty and how it looks like that. If you take this out and you pressure wash and you wash it out, this thing right here will brighten up to look almost like a brand new mop. So that's a thing as far as that goes. So just to recap, so you're looking for scrubbability, you're looking for water retention, you're looking for water transfer. Okay, so we're talking about water transfer, but before we talk about that, we do want to say is that, so also what might have messed this up is because sometimes you just forget to wash them out. And so when the dirt's inside of the fibers, like it's just like sand, it's dirt. Like on a micro level, these are microfibers, and on a micro level, the dirt in there all the time, just going back and forth, that'll shred them up too. So these can actually last for a really long. This is kind of sad because I can tell that this thing still had some life into it, but it's probably, now thinking about it, was probably just not rinsed out enough. And what happened is the dirt inside of it is what probably messed it up. So what you want to do is, like I said, just make sure that you rinse them. You should almost rinse them every day. You could just start your day off with a clean mop. So the last thing we're talking about is transfer. Okay, so transfer. So loading is how much water you will initially pick up. Retention is how much water it'll hold on to after it all drips out. Because some of them are going to drip and some of them are going to drip less. Okay, scrubbability, and then transfer is what happens when you actually have your mop and you put it onto the glass. Okay, some of them, this one right here holds a ton of water, but it doesn't transfer a lot of water. But it also operates really well without transferring a lot of water. But that's a property that they have. So I like. Actually, my favorite one for transferring water is the Unger Blue, which is softer, but it doesn't have a lot of scrubbability, so we use it on the outside. So this one right here is great because it'll hold on to a lot of water. This really shined is when we had a big window that was on the top of a pole, and we had to take it and go up to the glass, and we didn't want water dripping all over on the inside of the building. So we were able to get it all the way up, it retained it, and then it transferred a lot of water onto the glass, and so that way we could have enough water on the glass, a big window, so that way we could come back down, get the whole glass wet, one side, flip around, scrub it, take it down, pull it off, put a squeegee on the pole, and then go up and straight pull it. So transfer means that it's going to transfer how much water when you put this on the glass, that's going to go. Because if you have a mop that doesn't transfer a lot, especially if it's hot, if you have a mop that doesn't hold a lot of water and it's hot and it doesn't transfer a lot of water, you're going to be fighting, and what's going to happen is your windows are going to be drying out really quick before you're able to squeegee them, which sometimes it just happens. But if you've got something that transfers more water in the heat, that's going to be one of the biggest properties that you're going to be looking for, and this right here is a great one for that. So I think that is everything for the scrubber, for the mop, not the scrubber.
You think they're gonna get the Ratatouille reference?
No.
No?
Because we're making a video, babe, and you're making lots of noise.
Oh.
All right. So the thing we were gonna say too is that keeping your. You mind, Boo?
Well, and he's